Hello, welcome to today's video with Opus. I'm Derek, top research director with Opus Research, and I'm here with Ram from Zoho. Ram, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Derek. I'm Ram. I lead the AI research for Zoho. I've been with Zoho since 2011. I started as an intern, and today I'm the director of AI research for the company.
Wow, that's a success story right there. I didn't even know that. That's cool. Well, you've come a long way, and obviously the world of AI has come a long way since 2011. What we want to talk about in this segment is really the announcement that Zoho had a couple weeks ago around LLMs and Zia Agent Studio, and this was exciting news because obviously this is something that we've been looking at for many years is around Zia, the use of kind of natural language and AI within all the different applications of Zoho. But then leveraging obviously large language models in the past couple of years has been really kind of skyrocketed the use of AI. Many organizations are looking at things like OpenAI or fundamental, kind of foundational large language models. Um, why did Zoho go ahead and well, tell us what you built, and then tell us why you built the Zoho LLM.
Sure, Derek. That's a great conversation starter. And we had four announcements coming through. The first one was Zia LLM, Zoho's own LLM. The second one is a speech recognition model,
Oh,
which for English and Hindi and other regional languages are in the works. The third one is an agent studio and Zoho's agent announcement, where customers can build agents and have a marketplace where they can host it, monetize it, and all that.
yeah.
And the last one is the MCP server. So these were the slew of announcements that we recently made. So let me double down on Zia LLM. I mean, the question has been uh, there are obvious open source choices. There are a ton of choices across different parameter sizes. Why would you want to go ahead and reinvent the wheel, or why would you want to go ahead and build LLMs? And at Zoho, we always play the long game.
Yeah.
When I joined the company in 2011, uh, you know, it was I was shocked to know that the company was not running on hyperscalers and investing in its own data centers. Again,
Mhm.
fresh out of college, young intern, looking at things, and why not do this?
Yeah.
Now, today I look back and see how the dots are connected. Because today we have the know-how of building data centers. That's how we are able to pass the value to the customers. Same thing with AI. Again, we want to build the long know-how. We are in it for the long-term game. And given LLMs are foundational technology or fundamental technologies that can reshape the way in which we work, we don't want to miss out. I mean, we started off with an OpenAI integration where customers can bring in their OpenAI key and then start using OpenAI from Zoho Stack. This was in 2023.
Yep.
2024, we had a slew of open source large language models that were hosted within the Zoho data center, which includes the likes of Llama, Mistral, DeepSeek, Gwen. These were the models that were hosted within Zoho's data center, so the customer data does not leave the Zoho ecosystem.
Right.
And now, one of the options of that would be a homegrown Zia LLM, where we have built things ground up. We've launched three models to start off with: 1.3 billion models, parameter model, 2.6 billion parameter model, and a 7 billion parameter model. Now, again, we've spoken a lot about right sizing models, not making everything a large language model problem, because there are use cases. For example, a 2.6 billion model is more than enough for a email summary, is more than enough for a customer support ticket summary. So
Right.
you can do more with less is the idea. The amount of GPUs that would be needed for the inference would be much lesser if you right size the models. So that's why the three parameters. And we have taken a best of breed approach. It's not built on top of some other LLM. It's
Right.
built ground up from scratch on a mix of proprietary and public data that is available. But
Okay.
I want to be very clear here. We make sure that no customer data is ever used to train these models. The baseline model is deployed into each customer instances, and each customer's model evolves differently based on their data. At
Mhm.
Zoho, we have the promise of data privacy, where your data is your data and it's only used for your company's benefit, your organization's benefit. So
Yeah.
that's the whole idea on which we have built this LLM, Derek.
Yeah, no, and you jumped ahead a couple of my questions already in terms of the training and the and the privacy, which you're right. I mean, that is a kind of a hallmark of Zoho, and I'll just on the cost thing, and I do, and then I'm going to jump into the Agent Studio, which I think really ties together a lot of the applications of how this is going to be used. Um, but the resources that you talk about in terms of like building from the ground up does require, you know, a substantial amount of just time and, you know, staff and data. But
Yeah.
I think that from that you're saying based on the use cases that most people will be using this LLM for, it does reduce the cost, and really overall the value is within that based on the fact that you're having kind of a smaller model, smaller domain based on the LLM for the right use cases. So I just want to just talk about that in terms of why it's worth it for you from a value standpoint. So that because the costs aren't necessarily passed on to Zoho customers.
Yeah, absolutely, Derek. We've been talking about right sizing models. So
Yeah.
all of Zoho's models have been built ground up from scratch. And then we saw this whole transformer wave come in and revolutionize everything we do. So one thing we all agree is we see value in the consumer scheme of things. Almost all of us use a bunch of LLM tools to get our work done. But how do we make this penetratable into the enterprise? We still haven't seen much of an enterprise value cost because of LLMs and agents. It's still we're still at the early stages of the hockey stick curve, is what I have seen across Zoho's customer instances.
Yeah.
Now, this is a very unique combination. Zoho has 55 plus apps, and having access to first party data, having access to a life cycle of a customer ever since you met them at the trade show to the time they purchased, to the time they had an escalation, to the time they built your relationship with your organization, to the time they have become a named account and you have an account manager looking after their department. All of this is captured in the Zoho's platform. This is with customer experience.
Yeah.
With employee experience, to the time you posted a job opening, to all the resumes that were shortlisted, to the job offer, to that employee onboarding, collaborating with other team members. So we have got the complete customer life cycle, complete employee life cycle, complete business process life cycle is captured within Zoho's platform.
Yeah.
Now that becomes a gold mine for information. And if you look at the landscape today, there are enterprise SaaS vendors and then there are model providers.
Right.
Enterprise SaaS vendors don't have access to model providers, and it so happens that a typical enterprise service provider pays a huge chunk of their profits to a cloud service provider, hyperscalers, and another huge chunk of their profit to their model service providers.
Yeah.
And these model service providers have a good sense of what's going on. And I see in the next 6 months to 1 year, we will have these model service providers evolve as enterprise software companies
Right.
because they get all the high quality signals coming in from the integrations that they did. So this is why we believe training on first party data plus having the models hosted in-house would be a powerful combination and would offer a lot of value to our customers than being reliant on third party model service providers.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think there's obviously that's true for in terms of the customers you've had, and they reiterate that's how the importance of that type of first party data. So um, I wanted to talk about the other announcement, or you mentioned there was like four at the beginning, but but the Agent Studio in terms of the tooling, like how are people going to use this stuff, and like kind of and some of the creation tools that are available, and then I know that that kind of the pillars of that are also then using the LLM to you know obviously kind of understand and generate some AI, and then also tapping the knowledge bases and all of that data that people have within organizations. So let's talk about the tooling and the Agent Studio. What was announced, and who is it for? Are this, you know, in terms of making sure even like the non-technical the business users might be able to use some of the new tools that you guys announced.
Absolutely, Derek. So Zoho has always had a very low-code fundamental approach to its platform. Zoho Creator is our flagship low-code platform, and today with Agent Studio, we want to. I mean, one is we've got a bunch of pre-built agents that are available within Zoho's
Yeah.
ecosystem. One thing with respect to AI that we have seen is take a large bank in the US. Uh, their AI requirements are very different from another large bank in the US. That's not the case with typical SaaS. If you had catered to one large bank, then you can retrofit your solution to another large bank, to another large bank, and so on. But AI requirements are very different because the digital maturity of departments, the digital maturity of banks are very different when compared to each other. So they need AI at different levels. So this is why we had to launch Agent Studio despite having a bunch of pre-built agents,
Right.
because you can customize it in all the ways. And it's all promptable, it's all low-code driven. So you just have to prompt the system, it uses an LLM and then builds out the agents for you. Now, what these agents can make use of is make use of all the 55 plus applications, their APIs, make use of the governance layer that is built into Zoho stack. Now, whatever we build are built on top of Zoho's search platform. Now, the search platform brings in privacy by design.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say we both work for the same company. I cannot search through your emails. I cannot search through your instant messages unless I have shared it with you or so on. So, given this agent is being built on top of the search foundation, privacy guardrails come in as a default. And then there's also a governance layer where you can set access controls to these agents. And then there is a paper trail on what changes did these agents make and so on. So eventually we see these agents becoming digital employees where they do a lot of automation at scale and take decisions with all the context that is available in Zoho's ecosystem of apps. So that
Right.
is where we see this going. We are working with a couple of early customers. We've
Yeah.
also opened a marketplace so that partners can build on top of this agent studio and monetize it. So we're just getting started here.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see kind of where it goes, and just that kind of that natural language access, that search layer that you talked about, and that that has been something that with Zia for some time now in terms of like asking and getting forecasting information and analytics and data intelligence using natural language and Zia as a way to access and get that data is also part of what we've seen before. So the last thing I just want to talk about, and you touched on in the beginning, is the ASR. So something that we at Opus have looked at for many years is speech enabled, you know natural language. And so how are organizations, over the years, this type of technology is becoming more and more commonplace, more and more commoditized, if you will. And of course, in Zoho fashion, you guys, let's just go ahead and build it ourselves. And so, what was the announcement? And you mentioned a couple languages, but I guess the specific is that was this coming from some of the customers and just a describe, where and how the ASR is going to be used within the Zoho platform.
Absolutely, Derek. So again, this ties into our larger AI story. We don't see the ASR platform as a standalone thing.
Yeah.
Today, you have ASR providers. Now, for instance, you use the telephony integrations, Zoho Voice, which is available in CRM. Now, your sales folks are making calls throughout the day, and these calls are recorded and it's saved there as a recording. Now, you have to yesterday you had to use a third party ASR tool to make a transcript out of it, and then you make it all queryable using an LLM. You can ask what were my top customer requests today. This is across the 100 customer calls that your sales folks would have made in the day. But here, with this being a part of the AI underpinnings, the transcript automatically comes in, and you're able to see a summary, you're able to see a sentiment. You make it queryable using an LLM, where all of a sudden you have over 100 hours of recordings, and then you can go ask questions. Where did customers what did customers want more? Where did they feel that our products are lacking? Such generic questions could be answerable because of this ASR plus LLM combination. So
Yep.
we see this as multiple layers.
Yep.
The LLM and the ASR are in the lowest AI infrastructure layer. The agent studio is in the highest AI infrastructure layer, where somebody can come in and configure, customize it, build it on top of their own. So Zoho customers will actually see LLM and ASR behind the scenes. They will not be directly interacting with it, but it will be available via the products.
Right. Makes sense. It's all part of the master plan. So I like where it's going. But well, thank you very much, Ram. I appreciate you spending some time walking us through these announcements, and we're excited to hear more what's on the horizon.
Appreciate the opportunity, Derek. Thank you very much.